Hi everyone, it's Alyssa with Dual Parenting, and today we are here to discuss the magic recipe to get your baby to sleep better at night. So recently I was out to dinner with a friend and she straight up asked me, all right, tell me, what's the magic recipe? So it's a little bit more complex than that, but we are here today to talk about the 5 foundational elements to a healthy sleep foundation for babies. The first part is going to be about nutrition. Then we're going to talk about the sleep environment. Then we're going to talk about bedtime routines. The 4th element is having a consistent morning wake up. And then the 5th part we're going to talk about is meeting your baby's emotional needs during the day. So talking about nutrition first, it is imperative that your baby gets full feeds right away. Day 1 from the hospital, they are getting full feeds. Now, typically newborns and babies between 0 and 3 months, they are very sleepy. So ensuring that they get a full feed can be a little bit hard because they're constantly falling asleep at the bottle or at your breast. So it's important that you try to keep them awake. If it's during the day, feed them in a bright lit room and try to keep them awake. You can either burp them halfway between, you can change their diaper halfway between the feed, you can get them cold, take off all blankets, you can have a wet washcloth nearby. Whatever you have to do, make sure that your newborn is getting a full feed. Now, as babies get a little bit older, they become alert, more aware of their surroundings, and that's when babies get distracted. So we still want to focus on full feeds even when they are older too. So if that means going into a separate room, do that. A lot of times babies, somebody will walk in or somebody will say something or your toddler will do something and the baby right away wants to look at what's happening. So to ensure that they're getting a full feed, it's really helpful to go somewhere separate apart from all the other noise so your baby can focus on that full feed. If your baby can go 2 to 3.5 hours during the day, they can do that at night. So focusing on full feeds right off the bat is really going to help you have your baby sleep better and stronger and longer at night. So focus on full feeds. And I know a lot of people, a lot of grandmas say, never wake a sleeping baby. But I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Make sure you wake up your baby during the day if it's been 3.5 hours since their last feed. You want to make sure that they are getting those feeds every 3 hours, 3.5 hours, to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients they can during the day, so then they're not up and hungry all night. All right, the second part we're going to talk about today is the sleep environment. Your sleep environment should have 4 things. The first thing, your sleep environment should be completely dark. Blackout shades, blackout curtains, whatever you need to do, make sure that the room is blacked out. The second element is having a white noise machine. I love using the Hatch because even though it's more expensive, you can use it for years. My 4.5-year-old still uses it to this day. Now, I really like the TV static icon, which sounds like this. And then for the light, a lot of people recommend using the red lights because that is not stimulating. The warm tones like the red, pink, orange, using those tones at night is perfect for those older children. Now babies, you don't have to use a light at all. I recommend not using a light at all, but definitely always use that TV static sound. Also, a part of the sleep environment, you are going to want to make sure that it is the ideal temperature. It should be between 68 and 72 degrees. And then the last part for the sleep environment is making sure that your baby has his or her own separate space and they are being laid on their backs on a firm mattress with nothing inside. All right, so let's talk about number 3. The third part of that healthy sleep foundation is focusing on a strong bedtime routine. Now you get to create whatever routine works for you, but I want to make sure that this is emphasized. Do the same routine, the same order every day for nap and every day for bedtime. Your baby is smart. Your baby, once you start that first step of your routine, it's going to signal to them, oh, it's time for me to do my job, which is to put myself to sleep. I always like for nap time routines, keeping it short and sweet. I'm talking diaper change, sound machine on, blackout shades down, maybe a book, maybe not, especially if you have more children, and then bedtime phrase, and then you confidently lay them down awake and walk out the door. Now for bedtime routines, those can be a little bit longer depending on your child's age. And some families like to begin their their bedtime routine with a feed. I always encourage you to start your routine with a feed and not end with a feed, because typically babies will start falling asleep and we want to make sure that every single time we lay them down, they are completely awake. So an example of a bedtime routine would be the feed, a bath, lotion, jammies, fresh diaper, sleep sack, a book, your bedtime phrase, and then laying them down awake and saying your bedtime phrase and leaving. Confidently leaving. That is important. So having that bedtime routine is really going to help your child feel confident, secure. Babies don't like surprises. Toddlers don't like surprises. People usually don't like surprises. When we surprise somebody with something new, it really gets their adrenaline going, which does not promote sleep. So I'm going to encourage you to think of a bedtime routine that is thoughtful, that's calming, something that is sustainable, that you can do every night, and go with it, stick with it. That consistency, your baby will catch on. And you can start those routines right off the bat. The fourth component for your healthy sleep foundation is going to be a morning wake up. Now, this one was really hard for me. When my boys were little, sometimes they'd be up at 5 or 5:30 or even 6 a.m. But I wanted my daily wake time to be 7 a.m. So even if they were up at 5:30 and they got a feed, or they were up at 6 and got a feed and I put them back down, when it was 7 o'clock, I got them back up again. Now, it was painful in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. I remember my sister being like, let him sleep. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, nope, I have to be consistent. I am going to set his internal clock, that circadian rhythm. I'm going to start that at 7 a.m. So every single day, I got my boys up at 7 a.m. And eventually, they got there. Eventually, we got rid of that 5 a.m. feed or that 6 a.m. feed. Eventually, they were able to stretch to 7 a.m. So even from the beginning, even if you have a newborn, start getting them up at the same time every day and make mornings a big deal. Open up the blackout shades, turn the sound machine on to a different sound, take off their swaddle, have a morning phrase. Like, make mornings a big deal to signal to your baby, oh, okay, I guess we're doing the thing. It's daytime. So the morning wake up and routine is also important. That last element is meeting your baby's emotional needs during the day. This is very important. We want to be as intentional and present with our babies as possible. So I know you're not going to be able to do that all day long, right? We're human. We've got stuff to do. We have to work. We have to do laundry. There's a lot happening, right? But if you could just be intentional about that time with your baby, if it's 10 minutes here in the morning or 15 minutes here in the afternoon, make sure you set time aside where you are fully there with your baby. Talk to them, sing to them, read to them. I remember talking with one of my friends and telling her how my husband used to read Harry Potter, and he would read it out loud to Malcolm, our first child, when he was under 8 months. And she was like, really? It doesn't even have pictures. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Babies are taking in language all the time. So you don't have to just read children's books to your babies. You can read anything to them, really. My father-in-law highly recommended reading manuals to our son, and I was like, go for it. So whatever works, whatever is in front of you, read to them, talk through it. Even if you're like going down the stairs and you're holding your baby, you could say, all right, Malcolm, we're going down the stairs. You can count to them as you're going down the stairs. 1, 2, 3. Your baby's constantly taking things in. So talk to them, sing to them, play with them during the day, and make sure that their love tanks are full. So to review the 5 elements of that sleep foundation. Number 1 is, I'm blanking right now, nutrition. It's embarrassing. We've gotten this far. I'm going to keep going. The first one is nutrition. The second element is focusing on that sleep environment. The third part is focusing on that bedtime routine. The fourth one is morning wake up. And then the fifth one is meeting your baby's emotional needs during the day. So combined, all those 5 things will help your baby sleep longer and better at night and for naps during the day. All right, thanks guys.